Today our topic is how to cultivate gratitude using Stoic principles. Gratitude is a powerful feeling that can change how we see the world and our place in it. It helps us focus on what we have instead of what we lack, and it brings peace and happiness into our lives. But gratitude is not always easy to practice, especially when life feels hard or unfair. This is where Stoic principles can help us. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to live a good life by focusing on what we can control, accepting what we cannot, and finding wisdom in every situation. By using Stoic ideas, we can learn to cultivate gratitude even in difficult times. Let's explore how. First, let's talk about what Stoicism teaches us about control. One of the most important Stoic ideas is that some things are in our control, and others are not. For example, we cannot control the weather, other people's actions, or the past. But we can control our thoughts, our actions, and how we respond to what happens to us. This idea is important for gratitude because it helps us focus on what we have instead of what we don't. When we stop worrying about things we cannot change, we can appreciate the good things in our lives more fully. For example, if it rains on a day we planned a picnic, we can't change the weather. But we can choose to be grateful for the rain because it helps plants grow, or we can find another way to enjoy the day. By focusing on what we can control, we train our minds to see the good in every situation. Another Stoic principle that helps with gratitude is the idea of Amor, Fati, which means love of fate. This means accepting everything that happens to us, good or bad, as if we had chosen it ourselves. At first, this might sound strange. Why would we choose to have problems or difficulties? But the Stoics believed that every experience, even the hard ones, has something to teach us. When we practice Amor Fati, we stop resisting life and start embracing it. This makes it easier to feel grateful, even for the challenges we face. For example, if we lose a job, it can feel like a disaster. But if we practice Amor Fati, we can see this as an opportunity to find a better job, learn new skills, or spend time with family. By accepting what happens to us, we open ourselves to gratitude for the lessons and opportunities that come with every experience. Stoicism also teaches us to practice negative visualization. This means imagining the worst-case scenario or thinking about losing the things we have. At first, this might sound depressing, but it's actually a powerful way to cultivate gratitude. When we imagine losing something, like our health, our home, or our loved ones, we realize how precious these things are. This makes us appreciate them more while we still have them. For example, if we take a moment to imagine losing our ability to walk, we might feel more grateful for our legs and the freedom they give us. Negative visualization helps us see the value in what we already have, instead of always wanting more. It reminds us that nothing lasts forever, so we should cherish the present moment. Another Stoic practice that helps with gratitude is focusing on the present moment. The Stoics believe that the past is gone and the future is uncertain, so the only time we truly have is now. When we focus on the present, we can fully appreciate the good things in our lives. For example, if we are eating a meal, we can focus on the taste, the smell, and the enjoyment of the food, instead of thinking about work or other worries. By being fully present, we notice the small things that often go unnoticed, like a kind word from a friend, a beautiful sunset, or the feeling of a warm blanket on a cold day. These small moments of gratitude add up and make our lives richer and more meaningful. Stoicism also teaches us to compare our situation to those who have less, rather than those who have more. In today's world, it's easy to feel jealous or unhappy when we see people who seem to have more than us, whether it's money, success, or beauty. But the Stoics remind us that there are always people who have less than we do. When we think about how lucky we are compared to others, we feel more grateful for what we have. For example, If we feel upset about living in a small apartment, we can think about people who don't have a home at all. This doesn't mean we should ignore our problems or stop trying to improve our lives, but it helps us keep things in perspective. Gratitude grows when we focus on what we have, not what we lack. Another important Stoic principle is to remember that everything is temporary. Nothing lasts forever, whether it's good or bad. This idea helps us appreciate the good times more, because we know they won't last. It also helps us get through the hard times because we know they will pass. For example, if we are enjoying a happy moment with friends, we can remind ourselves that this moment is special and won't last forever. This makes us more grateful for it. On the other hand, if we are going through a tough time, we can remind ourselves that it won't last forever, which helps us stay strong and hopeful. By remembering that everything is temporary, we learn to cherish the good and endure the bad with gratitude. Finally, Stoicism teaches us to find meaning in every situation. Even the hardest experiences can teach us something valuable if we look for it. When we find meaning in our struggles, we can feel grateful for the lessons they bring. For example, if we go through a difficult breakup, we can learn more about ourselves, what we want in a relationship, and how to be stronger on our own. By finding meaning in our challenges, we turn them into opportunities for growth. This helps us feel grateful, even for the hard times, because we know they are making us better, wiser, and more resilient. In conclusion, cultivating gratitude using Stoic principles is about changing how we see the world and our place in it. By focusing on what we can control, accepting what we cannot, and finding wisdom in every situation, we can learn to appreciate the good things in our lives more fully. Practices like negative visualization, focusing on the present, and comparing our situation to those who have less help us see the value in what we already have. By remembering that everything is temporary and finding meaning in every experience, we can feel grateful even in difficult times. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a way of thinking and living. When we practice gratitude, we find peace, happiness, and strength, no matter what life brings. So let's take these Stoic principles to heart and start cultivating gratitude. Today, it's simple practice, but it can change our lives in powerful ways.